The black hound that I befriended earlier has been following me around. Seems like I have a new companion. Although, when it comes to combat, I can't see the hound helping at all. I've been able to sell everything. And emptied a lot of my bags. I don't have much coin, 142. But it's something. I could stay another night with that. And I think
Greetings.
Just might have to. But I'm going to inquire about work first. Perhaps somebody else will come and help us. I could use some reliable help. Do you know of anyone looking for work? Oh well, I wouldn't say I can speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them on your way. Let me see what I have to work with. The coin for these are beyond my means. For now. That'll change. However,
Yeah.
I cannot get away from the fact that I do need to recover. My health is sorely lacking. And the potion of minor regeneration is for my endurance in combat. It won't help me if I'm injured. Just help me stay up during a fight.
Well met, friend.
I'd like another room. Certainly, you're always welcome. Could I rest in the commons room? I would like to hold on to my money. I'll rest there. It's better than nothing. And I would like to save my money. Alright, I do feel rejuvenated despite not as sound rest as I otherwise would have had. Now, let's go out and look at that tree. I've already mentioned this to Alof. And he seems to be on board with it. Although I didn't mention the particulars. How could I? There's a dead dwarven woman up there that turned and looked at me. She's an animancer. Oh. Hello?
I have received confirmation that Lord Radric's heir was not born well. My lord has issued an injunction on all new homesteads until he can be assured that the village has been cleansed of all Eothasians and whatever other undesirables that have brought this curse upon his lands.
I couldn't possibly say where I'm from.
It would be best if you left town as soon as possible. I would suggest returning to your old home. There will be no place for you here. You may stay at the inn until you can make the necessary arrangements, but I would not advise remaining long. I expect Lord Radric will be most thorough in his efforts to purify this place.
Despite my misgivings about talking to this cretin, I'm going to ask him about Lord Radric. He comes from a line of nobles who have defended these lands since Aedir times. Radric II was an early supporter of Durwardian independence during the Revolution, and the current Lord's fathers perished in the Saints' War. Ah. Then we have something in common, then. Hollowborn began appearing in the Durwood shortly after the war's end. Lord Radric has taken it upon himself to purge the curse from the Gilded Vale. His measures have been severe but necessary. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to have been enough to protect his heir. I see. Lord Radric, his decrees may seem strict at times, but he has our best interests at heart. He nods. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Gilded Vale understand our rules. In that case, I'd like to know more about Gilded Vale. We're a frontier village, as are most settlements in the Durwood. Gilded Vale hasn't grown much since its establishment in the colonial days, and the last 15 years have seen our population shrink further. He takes in the ramshackle house and half-fallen fences, hence our recruitment of fresh settlers. Elosh snorts. Indeed. Tell me about the ruins behind the tree. That's what's left of the Temple of Eotheus. His lips pucker. Lord Radric forbade worship of the dead god after the Saints' War. It's been abandoned for almost 15 years, but there are plans to rededicate it to Berath, the god of life and death. So, tell me, why has Gilded Vale's population been shrinking? Weedwin's legacy, of course. Many women have had difficulty bearing healthy children of late. A few years ago, Lord Raderick decreed that no mothers of Hollowborn are to be allowed in Gilded Vale. His mouth tightens into a firm line. His lordship dealt swiftly with any objectors. It may be harsh, but if it purges us of this curse, is it not worth it? Enough about Gilded Vale. Goodbye. Now, let's go on by this tree. Well, this man looks like a warrior to me. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. It's as bad as it was in my dream. And I can smell her from here. I smell them all. It's putrefying. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. I'm going to try to reach out to her. You take in a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, receiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman, and when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear, or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
This is not part of my ability as a cipher. I don't know what's going on. I think this is something to connect it with that ritual that these people sacrificing for him when I could see visions afterwards. Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I, wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I need to understand something. Something has happened to me. She nods, a look of pity in her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there.
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
I'm a watcher? What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times.
For you, I would say anything would be a better time.
Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. but no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
What did you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at me reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Old Merwald. I think I survived a Beowick. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
You said souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again. But less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
She clicks her tongue. I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery, yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord, she is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us, the best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
Come to think of it, I don't. I feel sorry for you. Is there anything I can do for you? I guess not. Farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldera closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Aloth looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. I'm a cipher, but I guess now I'm a watcher as well. I'm a watcher. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin. And I expected this has something to do with the hooded figures in the ruins, In any case, I appreciate your honesty since we're traveling together. It's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about Watchers? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, he coughs, as you just demonstrated. This must be an amplification of what my previous skills were into reading people. Now I can see what was there. Souls that are lost, souls that are gone from the body. Or maybe they're lingered around just to speak to me. That's never happened to me before. Let's continue on. But if my soul was heavy, I must have been born this way. Oh, I wish my master knew. But perhaps he didn't know. He didn't have the knowledge of such things.
17 and a half.
Yes? The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthly and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held to his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smirk.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Well, frowns. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22. 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What makes you think I was interested in that dwarf woman? He looks at me for a moment, his brow arched, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
I've been out of sorts lately. Of course, we all got our bad days when we stand perfectly still and stare at corpses for a while without blinking. He winks. I don't know if I can trust this man. It's none of your business. Fair enough. If folks around here minded their business, then that tree over there would have a few less wind chimes. Maybe I should take heed. I'll leave you to your corpse staring. Interesting, man. Well, I'm not sure what else we can do other than head back down. But I guess I'll have to wait for the next video.